Hey everyone, my name is Keon. I'm one of two videographers here at the offensive line. I'm here today to share with you about how I came to know Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. I was born into a Christian household. My mom was Christian, my dad is not a Christian right now. But we grew up kind of going to church, and I grew up in the church. My mom would always take me there on Sundays, on Fridays, and I would get to meet a lot of friends, meet a lot of people, and it was always really fun for me to be able to go there. And I was growing up not really understanding what all these things were, but still having all these stories, and kind of similar to what Josephine was saying in her own testimony about having that similar background. And I grew up with that and didn't really see a problem. I always called myself a Christian from elementary school, middle school, even to high school. I would call myself a Christian. And it wasn't until high school that I realized something was a bit different. That I would look at all my other friends from church and I would see them living different lives. That their lives would really be changing, and I kind of saw differences there, but it didn't really spark me to any desire to want to figure out more of what that was. I had a mentor at one point, and he kind of walked me through, we talked about humility, and I was reading through a book about humility. Really, really good book. But even after that, we talked about it, and I kind of came to the understanding that something was off, right? That maybe I wasn't a Christian. But even then, there wasn't still a push or a drive for me to want to become a Christian. So high school rolls by, I spend the summer going biking, doing things with my friends, and not really thinking too much about it. And college rolls around. And college, everything's all brand new, trying to meet all these new faces. And what's really cool is that you make your own decisions, right? And I came to college not expecting much, right? I knew I was going to go to church because I had grown up going to church, and I went to Redeemer's Grace Church, which is a church that I'm currently going to right now, and a couple other ones around the area. And it was around week 5 when I finally made my first visit to RGC, and Jason, our other videographer, he challenged me on really what the purpose of the church was. And at that time, I was very shook because no one ever asked me that question before. And I thought I was just going to go around and just try to find out all these new churches and just maybe go along for the ride. But he asked that question, and I started thinking, maybe this is really a church that there's something special about this church. So I started going to RGC since then, and about the next quarter, so spring quarter of 2019, I had a discipler, and his name was Ben. I was in a relationship at that time in college, and I was talking to Ben, and Ben was telling me all these verses about not being yoked with an unbeliever, how Christians should live a life that is set apart, and still in my mind thinking that I was a Christian. And one time, I think it was January 28th or around that time, we were sitting in a McDonald's. It was 11 p.m. and we were just talking, and he was just really bringing forth my sin before me and really getting me to see myself rightly before the Lord. And in that parking lot as we were leaving, he just asked if I wanted to pray. And it was there that I prayed to the Lord. I just remember tears streaming down my face, sitting in that parking lot. And I think that was really the day that I was saved by the Lord, and just seeing myself rightly before Him and really understanding who Christ was, what He did on the cross for my own sins. And that day after, I immediately broke off that relationship with my now ex-girlfriend. And ever since then, just seen a lot of different changes in my life. Not just having different desires in my own life, but also just seeing a lot of growth in different areas. Whereas before, I was really selfish, really prideful, and God's given me a lot of opportunities to be selfless, to be caring for those around me, and even giving me more opportunities to humble me, that I would see myself rightly before Him as well. So it's been really cool being able to share this with my friends, and being even able to evangelize to some of them, and being able to share about this great news that I have. And ever since then, there's been so much joy in my life, so much peace. And although I'm still a sinner to this day, I can still rely on the cross of Jesus Christ, that knowing that He died for my sins, that I can have full confidence and full assurance in all that I do. So that's my testimony. Hope you guys were encouraged by that. And if you aren't saved, I pray that really just seeing this and understanding a little bit more of my testimony would encourage you to really want to understand and want to know who Jesus Christ is. So that's it for me. Welcome back to the offensive line with your host, Keon. Josh and Hanson are on sick leave. This week we're going to be talking about why Josh has a beard.
You gotta warm up your jaw.
Warm up my jaw, exactly, exactly.
You should have a beard. It's always warm.